Good morning. Hello. Good morning, coffee drinker. How are you doing today? And do a quick sound check to make sure things are working because okay, voice is working at least. Music is not doing great. You're doing fine. Last day of work before a week of holidays. Very nice. That's always nice to have a week of holidays coming up. Are you gonna be just like staying at home for the holidays, or are you going somewhere fun? Is this Tara? Is this Terza? Hello, good morning. How are you doing today? And welcome. So I turned on music and I don't hear it out of my PC speakers, and OBS doesn't hear it. So that's fun. But at least you can hear me. Staying at home, doing house and garden work, some programming when you have time. That's a nice little vacation. It's a staycation. Cat cam indeed, yeah. Zilby followed me down this morning, so we'll see how he's doing. Supercuber, hello, good morning. The way I know that they're like sort of very similar, but I can't help but feel that it was like more of a hello to the cat than a hello to me. I don't know if that was your intention, but that's the way I read it, and I think it's hilarious. The cat probably is. He probably would have been happier if I was awake like at 4 a.m. And there's been times that he's woken me up at 3 a.m. saying like, "Hey, playtime, right?" And usually then I just like throw a blanket over him. It's like, "Nope," and go back to sleep. You would never. Okay, well, in that case, thank you. Welcome. Good morning. Hello, Asitsu. How are you doing today? So we are doing a music-less stream apparently today for reasons unknown. I'm guessing I need to reboot again. I just booted up the computer this morning, so and music audio is working last night. Microphone is working great, so that's good. Joey FPS. Hello. It is testing time. Yeah, so the microphone is working great, but the music not so much. I have it playing right now, and I can't hear it in the speakers, and you can't hear it. So and OBS can't hear it. So it's clearly something else is going on. It's probably one of those things where like the operating system decided that to forget what the output like device was, and it's like trying to go to like a VR headset that I don't have. That's happened a few times in the past. I brought home a VR headset from work one time, and now my computer constantly remembers like, hey, remember that one time you installed a Rift? You want to put all the output to that. That there's speakers on that. All right. I'm thinking it might be easier for us just to restart with all of this. instead of sort of update a bunch. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these files. I can always go and take a look at them again on GitHub if needed. But it's not connected anymore. Why would you? Wait, in Ranger you can D to delete? Wait, is that right? For some reason I thought I couldn't do that. Let's delete the lock file. Okay. Hold on. So what's that? Console delete, console trash. Oh, well, look at that. Okay, so if I... Oh, that's... Okay. So it's not a real... So it's not like it's just a one-click button delete. So if I do... So D, Command D, cargo.lock, and it's gone. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it did bring a Vim-like prompt. That is pretty cool. Okay, I'll have to remember that. Can I use it to create a file? So C does not create a file. I can CD though. Okay, so I can do create. Okay, so hold on. So I can come here to test. I can do colon create. Let's do we want to test authors and then books, then book authors. So I mean, I could also just do this as one really big test and just do integration. Dot rs. Command not found create. Oh, it's touch. Okay, so T, capital T, that doesn't do it. Okay. Touch integration.rs. Oh yeah, take a look at that. Nice. All right, so we want to do CRUD on authors, CRUD on books, and then CRUD on user authors, book authors. All right, excuse me. Okay. Zippy, you wanna sometime face the camera so we can see your face? You can almost see his face. Okay, so hey, thank you. Yeah, it's just a dinky little camera. Actually, the camera is nice. The camera is just as good as this camera that I have here. It's a dinky little tripod that I have. It's super light. So the cable on the camera can pull it down really, really easily. So if you ever notice me like having to like pull stuff and do something around, I'm pulling the cable so it won't give me a little bit of slack at least. I want to figure out a way to like do a tripod all the way around him, so that way, no matter which way he points, we can get a good face cam with him. But okay, so async function. This is gonna be, so we're gonna do CRUD. So this is gonna be test Do I want to do something like should create an author? Return a result. And then we have I probably want to do modeling type stuff here too, based upon what we expect to get in. So let's create a model. That's more reasons for me to jump back in, like to quit out of Helix and jump back in. The only negative is it does take a little bit of time for it to spin up Rust Analyzer again. And that takes an unfortunate amount of time. So where should I put my mouse? I'll put it up there. All right, I think you're ready now. So that's what, and you should time that sometime to see like what the penalty of exiting out is. Because if it's too much of a penalty, can I control Helix through the command line? Like, could I use this terminal up here to open a file? Because I'm pretty sure I read in the Ranger documentation that I can write a script and have it run every time that I open a file. So instead of it opening like Helix, I hit it and it runs a script and passes in the path to it. And so if that works, then I can have Ranger open up files in Helix in a different folder, and I could then basically I could recreate like sort of like the VS Code where I have a tree on the left and then stuff on the right. That could be really interesting. Does Helix have a headless mode? I don't think it does. Well, so I can open up the files with E, but what I would love to do is keep Oh, I think I see what you mean. So it's basically like if I open up no, not Helix here. If I open up Ranger here and okay, so I got models open up, so I want integration label editor is undefined. So I need to update that. And then that would work. Okay, so can I do something like set label in here? I don't know. I won't worry about it. I believe you need to set an environment variable for editor, which I thought I had. But maybe I don't. I do. So editor is set to Helix, but apparently capital E in Ranger doesn't think that it's set. Maybe there's something else that I need to set too. I know. Ranger is one of those things where I haven't like used it. I use it in like a very basic sense, but I don't really like dive deep into it, if that makes any sense. All right, test author. Let's go. Yeah, because like this as a tree sort of navigation sucks. Um, let's grab you out. Okay, so we'll have an ID, a name, and books. This could be options here because these are sort of like the base of what we're creating anyways. So I think I'm fine with that. Use Neovim X for almost everything. I've not heard of the X part of Neovim. I've used Neovim in the past. We set it up on stream and we used it for Rust development, and it was pretty good. Use oil.vim. Never heard of oil.vim. Oh. Are you talking about like the one line command line editor? X? I forgot that that was even a thing. Oil is like X, but you can edit your file system like a buffer. It's a cool way. Interesting. I don't really ever feel the need to get that deep into things. I usually only just work on the code for that. I've a few times wanted to figure out how to do the Alacrity Vim mode so I can go back and search my history, but that's it. And um I've only been able to get into the Vim mode once. The rest of the time has been sort of not really, it hasn't worked out. I have too many other keyboard shortcuts that I think are in the same one, so it's annoying. Oh, X is Explorer. It opens NetRW, which is a native Vim and Vim plugin thing. Oh, okay, that's nice. Inside. Okay. That makes more sense. I used a div plugin different Explorer thing. I don't remember what it was. Way long time ago, I used NerdTree, and then the most recent one we did something else, and I forget what it was. Tmux is Vim mode and bashes too. I've used Vim mode in Tmux before. I didn't use it in Bash though. What? Zilby, hi. He just did this like big sigh, like that I could hear from here, like a big in breath and then a long out breath. It's like, okay, your life isn't that bad. All right. So if we start with you, and then right, we'll need a book if we do something like that. Okay, so then we'll have a test book. Um, the ID is going to be an option. I think that the name is not going to be an option because we always have that. And then the books is going to be an option too because sometimes we don't know what we're setting. So when we're creating a new test author, it's going to be like this, where we're going to create a name with a bunch of nuns. Okay, so pull those in. Um, let's also pull in debug. Okay, so that makes you happy. That's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to the integration test. All right, so I want to create an author. Well, the first thing is I need a new author. Oh, right, we were gonna do randomized testing, weren't we? So I want something like impl test author. Probably new random. All right, name is going to be the alphanumeric sample. Got to give it to Helix, and the import suggestions. Got to find a way to do that in Neovim. I wanted to say that I had that working in Neovim. I think it's just Rust Analyzer, as Supercuber was saying. And that's also what was giving it to VS Code when you use it there. Oh, I'm starting to get all the DMARC emails. Those are fun. Let's see, sample. It's not, is it sample? Sample string. It's right, it's dot. Sample string. RNG. Name, we can do that as 8 characters long. That should be fine. Okay, so self ID is going to be a none. We'll have a name. We'll have books. That's a none. Demoroy, hello, good morning. How are you doing today? Oh yeah, and Joey, definitely look into it. Rust Analyzer, anywhere you're doing Rust code, is almost essential these days. Especially since the Rust project made the Rust Analyzer the official Rust language server thingy, and so therefore, like the old one, which I don't even remember what it was called anymore, is not being updated anymore. You're doing well, Demoroy? Awesome. That's great. Okay, so that gives me that. It's a random. Okay, so let's head back over in integration. We'll create a random. This is gonna be a new book. Put these under. I guess just models. Okay, import you. Oh, it's create models test book. Oh, interesting. Okay. Now I'm confused. So I wanted to do models. Test book. Okay, so then import that. New random. You do find this. It's oh, it's not test book. I want test author. Okay, new random like that. That gives me a new random book. Import you. That's fine. Yes, it is. It is early for me. It started around 6 a.m. Yeah, which means I have to wake up before that. Today you woke up at 11 a.m. and you spent most of the morning cleaning. I try not to do too many chores. Well, unless it's a chore day. If it's a chore day, like Saturday is my chore day, then yeah, I'm gonna get up and just do chores right away. Like cleaning and other stuff. Otherwise, I try to do like important long-term things in the morning like this. This is like I consider streaming and working on this project and everything else like a long-term investment for myself. Tuesdays and Friday morning on vacation time are chore days. It's probably good that you have that as like a set thing, so you always know what's gonna happen. When I do vacation time, I don't have any like, okay, these are my chore days or something else. I just sort of eventually like figures like, well, I got to do all the laundry now. I guess we're doing that today. You do live with your family, so it's set in stone. I mean, I have my wife, but I don't live with like anybody else, so it's we can just sort of do whatever we feel like. Stacking, good morning. Hold on, this feels wrong. We need to tie chores into HTML specs, like how it's a chore to figure out what they mean. I feel like somebody needs to write this as this year's April 1st RFC. Like like a chore tag or something. Can't do chores before we make a cross-platform chores app. That's absolutely true. Like how do you know what to do if you haven't written the app to store that? I mean, it's going to be a to-do app, of course. But it has to work. It's going to be enterprise level to-do app. No function or associated item, new random found for models test author in this current scope. And I wanted this to be a new author anyways. Why can't I find that? So here's in models, I have a pub struct test author. I impl this test author, and I have a pub function new random on that. And I just apparently forgot how to write Rust code. That is the problem with doing it overnight. Sorry, waking up early in the morning to do code is sometimes I just forget how to code. Oh no, you feel a 418 HTTP status code coming. Oh no. Well, I mean, every morning we probably have to do something like that. So we should probably integrate just a new status code which we could just use in life of just like I just don't I'm too tired. I don't feel like it. Oh yeah, absolutely. I know the 418 status code. The teapot. I'm a teapot. something that I'm actually a little bit sad about is that they made it a 400, 418. Imagine if they made it like a 218 or something. Then you could we could put health checks on things like teapots, and then had like the 418 or the 218 or something like that coming out, say like, yeah, I'm healthy and I'm a teapot. But now nobody uses it because even on teapots, because when it's a teapot, a 418 is an error. And so it almost feels like, okay, this is sad. Oh, it was the refer guy that made it a 400 error. Okay, so it's like, I want to do something, but no, I'm a teapot. I can't do something. I can't do that. But now that we actually have teapots on the network, it just doesn't work and nobody uses it. I've never seen 418 used in real life, like for an actual serious thing, which is really sad because it should. It absolutely should. Wait, um, Bax 418 Lasher. Hello. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing today? You've seen 418 in the wild? Well, that's nice. Like in a serious way, not used as like a joke. I've seen it used as a joke before too, but not like a real one. Theoretically, it's used on Nginx reverse proxying requests to two separate HTTP servers. Huh. That's weird. You're still waiting for an IPOAC network to exist. Let's see. IP over AC, air conditioning, air something, air current. It's used when a request didn't go through server error, or I don't know. Avian carriers. Oh, like a pigeon, like a pigeon. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. My brain isn't in birds, so I don't I don't necessarily go right there. But that does make sense, and that is hilarious. All right, let's see what we want to do here. So I create a new author. I want to then send this out. So let's just we'll do, I've decided I think I'd like to do the network stuff here. So we'll do the base URL here. Okay, so base URL, and then I think it's authors. And we'll do a post request to that, and we'll pass in the new author. Which means we need a client. We'll pass in the JSON, which is the new author. Oh, you need to be a reference. Send, await, and question mark. And that gives us a response. Oh, the first, okay, so there's actually a Stack Overflow question that somebody asked of, is that really a status code? Let's take a look. Oh yeah, so this is that mention you, let's see. Yeah, Joey, you said it. Interesting. And let's see. Then we have the IP over AC, which is RFC 1149. Seneco, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so that should give us a 201 response, and then this should be the first moment that we can actually run these tests too. So if I run you, you are not happy. You got a 500 error. Okay, so it actually did insert into authors. Error converting created author to response, missing field books. So let's see, that was, I guess we'll start with the router author. This was error converting created author to response. Okay, so missing field books and this try into. So when I try into from a created author, okay, gives me an author. Okay, so I need to go models, author. I'm gonna go to an author response. So try from author to here. Ooh, so yeah, if there's no books here, I should just have this be an empty vector is probably what I really want to do instead of the okay or. So let's do this as an unwrap or else. Apparently it's okay with just being a vec call right there. No? Maybe? Hold on. Redundant closure. Okay, so Oh, it wants me to just, pass in new like that is to the function. Okay. Try. Oh, because it could be default. Okay. Oh, that was fun. So I wrote in a way that Rust Analyzer said, hey, you should try this other thing instead. And then once I did the other thing, Rust Analyzer's like, wait, why did you do that? You should do unwrap or default. So much better of an idea. So it's like sort of went on a journey. Doing a stack trace on an internet error is completely fine, and you'll thank yourself in production. On internal error. Yeah, I can see that. Like anything where it's an error that gets like essentially thrown or creating or whatever. That probably is actually creating. Oh, I need to set up the backtrace one to have it show the real backtrace. Or maybe it's here. I can probably print out the backtrace. I don't remember how to do that with error. I know it's possible. I just don't remember what that is. Maybe it's like the debug mode. But okay, let's try this again. Okay, so those tests are working. All right, so that means we get a 201 back. You'd be shocked if a logging library didn't have one by default. Yeah, so I don't know if it's tracing that I need to do it on or if it's error I need to do it on. One of the two, maybe both. Now I'm interested. If I come back to router, see here's where this problem was. I did this tracing error. I have the error right there. Can I do tracing? Not. There's a lot of things that are very similar to the event macro, apparently. Oh, and then it's back to the top again. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm only using tracing in like the most basic sense. There's a lot more that I can do with it. But what it gives you out of the box is pretty nice. I wonder also if I do the debug printing instead of just normal printing, maybe that would also help out a lot. I'm not sure. Doc said to do debug, format, and report. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So here, let's recreate that as a problem. So let's see, where was that? That was here. I'll undo you. So we're back to you. Rerun our tests. We get that error. Okay, so we just see error converting this, and that's the only thing we get. If we come back to the router, error converting to you. So I use debug version of that. That didn't do anything, but maybe tracing doesn't care about this. Okay, what if I do that? That didn't print out anything. Like if I print line, I guess we'll start with the error. Okay, so then I have this missing field books, and it's just the message. Okay, so that makes sense. And then I want to debug print you. Yeah, so error should be the one responsible for displaying that. I thought maybe just whatever I sent to tracing would be displayed, but that might not be true. Also, my ePrint line, missing field books, is even in debug mode. For this is not, that's not working either. If I go to these models, oh, wait, what kind of result is this? Right, this isn't an error. Oh, that's why. This isn't an error. That's what's going on. I would need to have this error be an error. Right now, models error is created with this error, which is fine. But it would almost need to wrap that around an error and like have this like this, because it's like a normal thing. I can't have this. This is not like a error result. So it doesn't implement that report, and the report is what gives me the good backtrace. That's what this is. Okay. So I probably could get a backtrace if I set that backtrace equal to 1. But okay. Yeah, it must not be captured. Or it's either not, strange way that's not captured. So I have, are these not captured in so my model's error? Are those not captured in this error? Or is it that backtraces aren't captured in a try into or try from? Interesting. Either way, interesting. Okay, so you're working again. Let's go to our integration tests. All right, so we make sure that we get a 201, and then I want to make sure that that's a, let's see. I want to make sure that what we get back is the author. So this is going to be okay, so we should get the test author back. Okay. And then from the test author, I want to make sure that the ID is set. So that should be at least something. So we can do an assert. Now I don't know what it's going to be. So it's just going to have to be like is some and is not going to really helpful. As long as we know it's an I32. So it just is some is all I can really do. We can assert equal for the name. And then the books themselves, which that should be an empty array then. Okay, you're unhappy. Binary operation equal equal cannot be applied to type option vec models test book. Okay, so that because it's a test book too. Yeah. What I probably need to do is for test book do partial equal. So it knows that that would work. Ooh, so it's I probably need to just test that it's empty. I can test, like, I know that it's, okay. That's not necessarily nice. Let's undo that. Okay, so books is going to be an option. So I want it to be set. So I want it to be is some. So probably here we're going to do an is some and for that. So let's do assert created author books is some, and we have the books inside of here. I want the books to be is empty. Okay, and that's what we get back. All right, so that's testing that we can create an author. Next up, so CRUD, right? So read. I want to be able to get all authors. I don't need to create any authors for this. I just need to be able to grab them all. So let's do get our URL. We'll go to all authors like this. I don't need to create a client. We can just go straight to response. Not client, I want request. Go straight to that, pass it in the URL. That just does it. Joey, go have a great lunch, and you'll be gone for an hour. Let's see. I should still be here an hour. I'm streaming until around 8:30 or 8:45. So it'll be close to the end. All right, with this one, I don't think I need to care that it's to show that it's 200. I just want it to work, right? So I get the response, request get URL await, and then I want to get the JSON, which is going to be now a vec of test author. We'll await question mark you again. Okay, so this is now going to be all authors, which I don't really need it all, do I? It's just authors. Why is that question mark red? Question mark operator can only be used in async block that returns a result or an option. Oh, get doesn't do that? Wait, really? Wait, that's totally no method named JSON found for enum result. Okay. Oh, it's because I need to do that. Oh, weird. Weird that was what the error was displaying. I confuse REST Analyzer a lot with that apparently. Okay, so we get all the authors. I want to make sure that the okay, so we have 3 authors in here that we that should be created with the seeds. And so we want to see those. So it's almost like I want to create 3 flags for like I found these 3 authors, and then I want to loop through the authors until I find them. And if I find them, we're good to go. I'm happy about that. So and I should be able to find the books for those specific authors too. And that should be fine. I'll need to loop through these. So if there's nothing in here that could cause a problem, so we need a flag for this. So let mute, let's see, like found seeded authors. We're going to say false to begin with. If this fails, so we're going to assert equal found seeded authors should be true by the end of this. I now want to loop through the authors. Let's just do a normal for loop. So we can take ownership of them here. I'm okay with that. And then for each test author, I want to see whether or not the name is equal to, well, okay, we can check the ID too. We actually can go take a look at those. This was in the migration seed authors. Okay, so we don't necessarily know what the IDs are going to be, but we know that the names are going to be this. So it's going to be one of these things. Oh, so let's do a count. So maybe this will be seeded authors. Found. Oh. Seeded authors found. I want you to be a number. So we're going to start with 0. And I want you to be equal to 3 once we get there. Okay, that's good. And then, what was that? Oh, more DMOC reports. I have like work stuff in the case that I need to be called off for that. So sorry about that if you heard that in the mic. Let's see. Okay, so I loop through here and I'm looking for one of the different ones we can match you, can't we? So for author in this, I want to match the author dot name. Ooh, but let's as a stir, because then we can do things like this. Okay, so we'll start with unpublished. go to you. We'll go to you. What are you from? You are that. Okay. Okay, there. Okay, so save you. Back to one. All right, there we go. Non-exhaustive patterns. Okay, yeah. So if you find anything else, I don't care about you. I just want to make sure that we find these three, right? So if I find unpublished, I also want to check its books, right? So I guess like to begin with, we'll do seated. Why can't I find this? Hold on, that's weird. Authors found plus equals to 1. Oh, it's just I guess like other problems until I fix those. Oh, did I just do equals? I missed the arrow part of that. Okay, that's probably what was going on. All right, so seed authors found, we increment that. And then I also want to check to see if unpublished is there. I want to verify that there are no books for this one. So I want to make sure that your, okay, so this is going to be author dot books is some and get the book, and I want this one to be empty. Ism would crash if it's not empty, right? I did that one in an assert. That's probably a good idea. Okay, author books is some and I want books dot is empty. Okay, so I want to make sure that, okay, so we let you know that we found you. We found you, and you don't have any books. Okay, one book. We have our seeded authors found that increments. Then we do, okay, so we found you. This is going to be slightly different. We want to, okay, so we found you, books. I guess I might just do this multiple times. Okay, ism books length is equal to 1. Oh, so stacking, you found out how to do tracing. So to get the debug and tracing, but it's unnecessarily hard. You have to do a span and then a closure to capture the span. Interesting. I do remember looking through the tracing docs and I saw that there's tons of features for tracing. I'm wondering if there's like a better macro or something we could create to make that nicer. But I think I'm just going to go with we're not going to do it right now. We just won't print that out. Ooh, I can do an and here, right? Okay, so assert that the books is something and the book's length is 1 and the books dot first one. So book 0 dot I don't have any books. Okay, so that's the next thing. So I'm gonna say, first of all, authors, you're gonna be a test author. Okay. You don't know why Rust libraries have to make everything hard that comes default from most languages. I think part of it is the youngness, the age of Rust. I think people are like it's like okay, this is like the first idea, or maybe not even the first idea, but this is like the first few iterations that we're figuring things out, right? So it's hard. It's hard because that's just the way we figured out to do it. And the other problem is if you're one of the ones who figured out how to do it, it becomes easy for you, but for everybody else, it's still hard. But look at what's happened with web development. Things were hard back in the day. They were insanely hard, in mostly the insane way. But then now we have front end frameworks that are abstracting away all the hard stuff and making things really easy. I bet we're going to get to that eventually. It's just going to take a little bit of time. You think some Rust zealots are still in the community where we are Rust devs and things should be hard? I don't know, maybe. I sometimes still do see that in comments and sort of chat messages. It does it is a sort of an indication that there's some people from before the chasm are still hanging out in Rust. I haven't seen we have seen some exoduses from Rust, from the people that like hang out before the chasm. So, all right, chasm. This is a business term thing. There's this idea in business that you have a chasm between when something like a product is early adopted and like mainstream. So Rust is, I would say it's maybe not like fully crossed the chasm yet, because generally speaking, you have like you have this ramp up and then you just get this big gap, and then it like continues ramping up again. And mainstream people are all on the safe side of the chasm, and then early adopters are all on this side. And what happens oftentimes when a product or technology crosses that chasm to now get mainstream you lose a lot of the early adopters because you have to now start doing things that are like, well, nice for the mainstream. We've seen a lot of people exit the Rust ecosystem recently, and that's an indication. Like, if Rust is not failing and they're exiting, that's an indication that they're falling into the chasm. So that's but I don't think we're at the other side yet. I think we're in the middle of the leap, which is the most painful period for a language. Don't forget how bad the Rust community was at some one point. Yeah, there was it was pretty bad. And I'm that reminds me, the TypeScript community is really great now, but I remember the TypeScript community was really horrible at one point in time. There's also a good point, Isitsu. Some things are just inherently hard. You don't think it's on purpose. I think it's a combination. I think it's a we you're not necessarily trying to make it hard on purpose, but if your mindset is that it should be hard, then we're going to find hard solutions for it. It's sort of like a cousin to that. If I have a hammer, every problem is a nail, like type thing. It's similar to that. Whereas, like, if you think something's going to be hard, then you're going to have a hard solution for it. You're very excited for OCaml to get opt-in rust out ownership locality. I have not been watching OCaml. I'm just like, there's so much in Rust that I just don't have time for other languages right now. Oh no! Where was that going? Why would they name it oxidizing OCaml locality? All right. That looks like a normal blog. Let's open it up. Sorry, I have normal links that aren't for like normal things like GitHub blocked because in the past we have had some not great links sent out. And this early in the morning I don't have enough mods that would jump on that right away. So yeah. So, anyways, I now actually can see what the link is inside of chat, which is nice. The negative is that it deleted every comment you've ever made, which is not quite as nice. Okay, Oxen. Why did they is OCaml's uh theme is there a little animal a spider? Why are they spiders? These are supposed to be crabs? Those are not crabs. Those are spiders. Interesting. So they're working on a way to opt out of a garbage collector in OCaml. So this is something that's a fascinating side of just like products and like that entire early adopter. So like when you fall into the chasm because a technology or a product or something else moves out of early adopter into like mainstream, oftentimes you land on another early adoption technology. Now, OCaml has been around for a long time. It's been around for longer than Rust, but I think is it still like feels like it's in that like early adopter. Like it hasn't I don't even know if it's like trying to go into the mainstream. But what happens, and this is something that in business it's like warned, like this is a warning to people running businesses, not necessarily like a great thing. The people who land on it from the previous product may attempt to change it through pressure or something else, or if it's open source, just their own commits to be what they really want to be. Now it won't always be like the previous technology. Usually it'll be sort of like a hybrid, like mix in between. And oftentimes it can be really, really good. Like they could make OCaml an amazing language that's even better than it is right now, by sort of mixing in some of the lessons that they learned with Rust. But I don't know. I've never used OCaml, so I don't have any real opinions on that. But it is something that could happen. So it's super interesting. And then if OCaml ever switches over and becomes mainstream, people will jump from OCaml to something else and change that too. Rust was hoisted in OCaml, and Rust pretty much stole everything and claims it as their own. And the community never did push back, saying no, this has been out for years. That's there's so much precedent for that. Like the number of companies that are like, we just released this feature. We know that you've never seen this feature in your life. This feature is the most amazing thing ever, and therefore it's the first time. Case in point, everything Apple does. A rising tide lifts all boats. Yes, it is nice when we all remember that all boats, but yeah, it does sound like Apple, doesn't it? Yeah, except they do it when it's not even great. It's like, here's this feature. This is amazing, isn't it? It's like, that is shit. That is a terrible feature, or is a terrible implementation of a feature that is implemented well in every other operating system. Come on. I'm thinking about workspaces, or like the spaces thing. It's like, I don't even use them. They're it's just absolutely garbage. I know some people love it. I just cannot stand it. Okay, so we have a test book. When I'm creating a book, I won't have an ID. I will have a name every time. And I'll use that. I'll use this as this. Spaces are great. I cannot stand them. Every time I try using them, I'm like, this is gonna be great. Maybe it's updated, and like it bothers me. But that's the thing, is like, they're every feature, no matter how much somebody like me likes it or doesn't like it, there's gonna be other people that like it or don't like it, because me saying that it's like not great doesn't mean that it's not implemented well, as in it doesn't crash. It's like, it's technically sound. It's just the design doesn't work for me. Okay, so test book. We have a name. I'm gonna go back to here. I want to see, okay, and the books dot name, I want you to be equal to, you're currently using 9 spaces across 2 separate monitors. The problem I have, so how do I do it? It's this thing. Yeah, so if I do multiple spaces up here, I really want to I want to rename these spaces, because I constantly forget what the space is for when I'm using spaces. So I want to name them. I can't do that. That's like, most recently, that's like the biggest thing. They made it so I can reorder these, and they made it so that it won't automatically switch over to different spaces. That's been fine. But and the renaming is like the new, like, really big thing for me. Let's see. Oh, and there was something else. There was when moving back and forth in like a notebook from multiple displays to like more displays and less displays, it forgetting which display was on, and then I have to like uh move them around. That was annoying. That might have been fixed recently too. That was like a lot of this I did back when it first came out, and I just was like, nope, this is not for me. Okay. Books.name is equal to, okay, so what's books ID? Okay, so author ID. One book. Oh, well, the name is right here. Oh, so I need to know the book for one book. The book for one book. I should just go take a look in here. Oh, didn't I have like a. I used to have like a joint. Okay, I think this one. Okay, so one book owns free book. That's what I want. So this is going to be equal to free book. And I found the author. And if I found multiple authors, okay, so seeded authors found plus equals to 1. Okay, so author books is some and this is books again. So I want books length is 2. And then the first book is expensive book and unavailable book. Oh, but I can probably, instead of getting the first one, I can probably find something in there or like contains. Can I do, yeah, contains expensive book. That's what I want to see. Can't compare test book with test book. Partial equal is not. Oh, I want books. Oh, because, okay. Ooh, so, okay, I want to get the book names out maybe and like compare and like consolidate them together because this is each specific book. Because like the worry is that it might not come in at the same order, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so books dot name. Oh, it would be okay. So books um 0 name is equal to expensive book or books 1 dot name is equal to unavailable book. I can't imagine. Let's see, that's expected. Okay. So get that out there. All right. So multiple books. We assert that the books is something and the books has a length of 2 and the first book's name. So really this is wrong. I want this to be the first book's name is either expensive book or the first book's name is unavailable book. Either way, I'm okay with that. I don't need to like check both books there. Just one of them has to be that one. And then we don't do anything there. And then we found seated authors should be 3. And then these, and that's how I know that these asserts run. Okay, so if I run that, and that works. Perfect, perfect. So that gets all the authors. And just out of curiosities, if I set this like, hey, I want you to be 4. Yeah, okay. So there we go with that. That's great. Okay, so should get all authors. Should I name this like should get all yeah, I think that's fine. Should get all authors. Let's commit this. Okay, next up. The other R in CRUD. We should get 1 author. Okay, so I can create an author or I can attempt to get that 1 author. We could get that 1 book author. Oh, but we don't know necessarily what ID you are. So and I can't necessarily like find what you are here. This is almost like I want to create the author first and then just get it immediately afterwards. The other thing though, if I rerun the migrations I'm curious about this. Is that going to give me the right IDs for those seeded authors? I'm guessing not now that I think about it. So if I reset, which should roll back all the migrations and undo everything. And here, let's put another window over here to the right. Okay, so if I look at DT, I've got nothing in here. So I just have the migrations table. I have no tables. That's perfect. So that's run properly. I then want to migrate up. We migrate all those. Slash DT. Okay, so now I see I have the authors, I have the book authors, I have the books. Great. And then if I do that big select, okay, author ID is okay, yeah. So this is what we expect it to be. Our IDs are set to be the right things. So even if I roll back and then reapply these migrations without deleting the database fully, then I can rely upon the author IDs being what we expect it to be. So if I want that one to get the one book, that's going to be author ID 2. Okay, so should get one author. So our URL is going to be I'm going to go to authors 2. You're going to give me a test author directly back. Okay, so that should work so far. You do. Once I have that test author, I want to start just asserting that certain things are there, right? So I want to assert equal at the author dot ID. Oh, so I probably want this to be just an assert. Then I can do author ID is some and the ID is equal to 2. So I want to make sure you got me the right author. So your ID is okay. So the author ID is 2, and then the name. This one can be assert equal. Okay, name is equal to one book. And then there's books. Okay, so then so I want to do an assert again. So we're going to do author dot books is some and. So books, the first one, name is equal to free book. Yeah, I believe so. Okay. And I think that's it. Getting that author with the books together is all we really need to test here. Okay, and we have that. So that is getting one author. Okay, so that's the CR and then update. We're only doing an atomic update here, but that's going to be fine. I want to create an author for this because I don't know which order these tests are going to run. And if I change any of those seeded authors, I could cause problems for me. So we need to first create an author. Okay, so I'll create a new random author for that. And then we need a client. And I guess I just need to make sure that it works as expected. So okay, so do that, and then I want the status, and we're going to assert equal that the create author status is 201. Okay, so that should have, we just want to make sure that works. If it does work, we now have an author, and that's that new author. And we've already tested that the new author thing works, so I don't need to test that part again. I then want to mutate this one. And so we're going to now say new author dot name. All right, so let's just change your name to be just something I could just do this as another random. Not thread local. I want thread RNG. This is going to be alpha numeric sample string. We'll make this a different. I could even go as far as saying, hey, you're now 16 characters long. All right, so we do new author, so I update that, and then I want to send this entire new author along. We already have a client, so I want to do a let. This is going to be the update response. We're going to do a put to, we need a new URL. Okay, we're going to go to authors and then the author ID. No, this is the, oh, I need the entire, I need the thing, don't I? So I can't just go straight to the status code here. Oh, that would have been nice. All right, so await gives me the response. I guess like I know that this is gonna work if I then say, okay, I want JSON out of here to be the test user, the test author. Okay, so if that works, I get the test author. And I suppose what I could do, I can create that there. Now I want you to be mutable that I create. Okay, so I have created author equals, this is going to be the create author URL. Okay, you're super unhappy because I need to return okay at the end. Okay, so I get the created author. I get an RNG. I want to update the name of the created author. Which apparently I didn't do this right, so I need still await. Question mark that. Okay, so now I can do that. So I update the name of the created author. I want to, okay, now this is going to be created author dot ID. And I should be able to unwrap that, so we can expect this. So you are created author should have an ID. Okay, so I get the update URL. I'm going to put to the update URL. I'm going to add in JSON, which is going to be a reference to the created author. We're going to send you along. We're going to wait and question mark you. We should then get, the status should be 204. So we want to assert equal that the update response status is 204. And then I want to do another single get, which we already have the client. We already have that stuff in there. So I need a get. Which actually is going to be the same thing as this update URL, isn't it? I just want to use that again, which I've gave ownership of to here, so we're going to have to clone you. All right, so then let's get you. So this will be let sort of like author after update. So I can do a client again. So we'll do client get. It's the same thing, so it's the update URL. We'll go ahead and send and await. We'll get the JSON, and I want to turn you. This is to a single one, so you're just going to be a test author. And we await and question mark you. And then you should be the same. So I should be able to assert equal the, we already know that the ID is the correct one because we test that in get. So all I'm doing is I'm testing that the change happened. So I want to see, we only changed the name. So I want to assert equal that the after update author dot name is equal to the created author dot name. And that's it. All right, so this is the longest test so far. Although it's mostly long because Rust formatter. And it works. Okay, excellent. Happy about that. Oh, I kept on doing the :W. That's not what I want to do. Okay, so after update author. All right, so we test that we can, so that's the U, and then delete. Okay, so we should be able to delete an author. Let's create, we'll create a new author. Oh, hold on. All fine. Okay, so we have new random. I want to, okay, so to create this, I want the create author URL. So really, let's just do this as all authors URL. Maybe it should just be authors URL. Something like that. Okay, so authors URL, because I'm gonna use this for getting all afterwards and verifying that it's gone. Okay, so new author, authors URL. I want to create, okay, so new author of that. I need a post to that, so I need a client. Okay, so this gives me the new author response. Actually, I don't need to get it all again, do I? Okay, okay. So I want to do that, which means I want to get JSON. Make this a test author. We await and question mark you. Since this is the created author, which should be, no. Yeah, wait, yes. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I was thinking like, okay, it's gonna be after I deleted it. I don't have one to get it. But when I create it like this, I do. And I need the ID off of this. That's why I need the created author. Okay, so I get the created author, then I want to delete the author. So let the delete, this is the one author URL. Okay, so we'll go to the created author ID, and we'll expect created author is supposed to have an ID. Okay, so now I have the one author URL. I want to immediately do another. Okay, so we're gonna do it. Let a deleted response. We're going to send a delete to a one author URL. I'll clone that, which I don't need to clone this one. Log in, log out. Hello. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing today? VS Code best? I'm using Helix here, so I suppose my answer will have to be no by default, just because I'm not using it. But that being said, of the GUI editors, I do like VS Code. So in its category, I think it's the best. I know it's very easy to confuse, right? It's Helix is a brand new created coding editor. It's like got a ton of similarities to Vim. It's written in Rust, so I think it's like written from scratch, and it doesn't have nearly the same functionality yet as Vim, but it's also coming along. And so it doesn't have like plugin support yet. It doesn't have a file tree yet. A lot of things that you'd have to put in plugins for Vim, you don't need to. They're just automatically in Helix, which is really nice. And so that's what I'm using it. Also, I get these injections, which I can get in VS Code, in Helix here, that is the nicest. I like that a lot. Okay, so the deleted response should be a 204. And then what exactly? After we get the deleted response, I then want I want to attempt to get it again. So this will be the deleted author response. I could just go straight to request. Get, this is going to be the one author URL. And I want to assert equal that the deleted author response status is 404. You don't exist. Okay, let's see if that works. And it does. Excellent. Okay, that's CRUD for authors. Next would be CRUD for books. Is it create a book, create a book? All right, so let's see, when creating a book, I want to head into models and we'll create a new random book. We won't have an ID. We will have a name. Oh, which I need RNG. Okay, so I have a name. Alphanumeric. We'll do the sample string. Sure, you can be 8 long. A price is going to be an I-32. That's fine. We can sample that. That price equals RNG dot. Was it gen range? Okay, so generate me a range between 0 and let's say 100. Let in stock. This is going to be a gen bool. 0.5 to be 50% chance for true or false. Fatal error at line 34. Hello, welcome. How are you doing today? I'm oh, you already said you're fine. Well, awesome. That's great to hear. I'm doing good. It's good to actually like be getting close to the end of this assessment. I'm happy about that. I'm much happier about how it's written too. After we like wrote the entire thing and then just basically deleted it and rewrote it. But now knowing what we want it to be. The code is so much cleaner, so much better. Okay, so we have in stock, and then authors is gonna be empty. So I want you to be just you're a none. Okay, so ID is gonna be a none. I don't need that there. Those are only special things. Okay, so ID name is gonna be that thing. Price is gonna be a sum price. In stock is gonna be a sum in stock. And author. Ooh. Okay. Authors is going to be a none. Okay. That gives me this new random. You're stuck learning C++ for the 5th time. It's a neat language in its way, but it's complex in other ways. I can see that. I haven't really programmed in C++. I've read C++ and I've converted C++ like to like, code snippets and other things that I see in there to JavaScript and Rust and other things, but I haven't programmed it from scratch. If this is the fifth time, is there a reason? Like, what's your why for learning C++? Oh, look at that! I'm missing. Okay, I was wondering why I wasn't getting help. Okay, that's why I wasn't getting help. Your main motivation was performance and game graphics dev stuff, but since it's very hard to write performant code in C++, you don't know for modern C++, but since you're into it now, you just have to be patient and learn. So I guess it if it's really hard and like your brain is getting stuck and it's saying like, "Hey, do I really need to learn this?" I don't know. It might be that you're not like your brain just understands that it doesn't have to learn it. And even if you want to, when it gets hard, your brain might just say like, "Yeah, but do I really have to? I could just totally not learn this." Um, is there a way that you can burn the boats? So, uh, is there a way to basically make it where it becomes a have to? You'll have this problem with any language, you think? Maybe. Like different languages have different challenges when it comes to developing and programming with them. And there's also like the why. The why of like learning something is going to be different for each language, right? Because if you're and each time. So if you have like an interview coming up for learning like, for doing C++ code, that's going to be a completely different motivation for learning than if like I just want to learn C++ to be able to write a performant little game of little game for myself. C++ isn't that popular in your country. Yeah, so compared to Java and Python, and I can see that could make it a little bit harder to get into. So if there's a way to trick your brain into thinking this is a have to, that could sort of like make it sort of like I can't give up. There's no giving up. There's no, and which helps with the procrastination then when it comes to like, oh yeah, I don't have to do this. Let's just, let's just go do something more fun. So I don't know. That could be something to take a look into. It's like figure out how your brain works and trick it. Lie to yourself. You also tried other languages, honestly, but came back to C++. Are you working as a developer? Are you like do you have that as a job right now? I guess the next thing, because I didn't ask, is do you want my advice? I already gave you some advice, but do you want my advice? I probably should have started with that instead of just starting to give it to you. You started learning programming since 2017 and you're a student at university. All right. And you just passed your first year. Okay, okay. So beginning university adventure with coding. And you've been programming for what, 5 years or 5, 6 years or so? Nice. Well, you've gotta like step up. No, sorry. You don't have to step up. You've got a step up above average. Like you're ready to go. You didn't understand anything. You hardly understand memory management. The so there's this idea of, oh geez, where now I need to go look it up. Is it Bloom's? It is Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. So there's this idea of Bloom's taxonomy. It's so you used to understand memory management, but then you forgot. I love it. So there's this idea of Bloom's taxonomy, and our education system in many different. So I have no idea what it's like in your country, but in America, we do get this backwards pretty much, from what reality is. So Bloom's taxonomy basically tells us that we can't jump to create. We can't jump up to like analyze and evaluate. And this is where like understand, like notice that understand is not the bottom one. We have to start down here. But oftentimes we're taught theory first. So like the theory of memory management, how that works, why it works, how, understanding all that stuff. That doesn't work for us. It's not gonna take, as it were. So we have to first just do the thing, and do the thing by like tutorial. So like somebody just tells you, type in this thing to like initialize your memory, type in this thing to do something else. That's remember. Then eventually, once you have the context for doing it, then we can start to understand. So it's quite possible that you need more practice in doing, and then over time you get to the point where you are able to like truly understand. And I would say like to me, understand is like all of these things together. like that you can produce new original work means that you really truly understand everything together. Understand is a weird word in the educational world. So yeah, it's more of like, okay, you don't understand it now and you have doubts in that. That's okay. That's understandable that you have those. Um, what that tells you is that there's more time needed on the topic. And then eventually you can get to it. Also, memory is like a hose pipe. You probably have a leak. I that also reminds me, like most hoses, like they're fine to begin with, right? So memory is also like a hose pipe. Eventually, after running it a long time, you'll notice that there has been a leak and continues. I don't know. This doesn't work. I'll need to think about like the memory leak. You have to find a way to headshot your procrastination. Um, there's so there's a couple different books that I might recommend for something like that. I don't know if they're in other languages, so I don't know if they're definitely in English because that's what I read them in. So there's the Now Habit, and there's I think it's the Now Habit, and that in that book it talks about uh, work pressure and play pressure, and so as you do work, the pressure to then play increases. And if you don't play, you burn out, you get tired, you start procrastinating, and you start doing other things. And if you play, work pressure increases. And so if you're in a healthy mindset, what will happen is you'll play something and then eventually you'll just be like, why am I playing? I should go do work. And you want to go do work at that point in time. Work doesn't necessarily mean your day job. It just means anything that's not play. It could be chores. It could be something else. And so then if you're in a good mental healthy state, you do both those. You do both them like one after the other, not necessarily at the same time. Although there's tricks for like making work and play the same. And then you can, if you don't burn yourself out, like don't work too much, then you'll get things done much faster than if you try to like just force yourself to do work. Why did I choose Rust? So when I was teaching, I sort of realized that I had a lot. I had done C a long time ago, but I never really did like that much real C. I had written like one little tiny thing as a systems administrator in C, and then all my coworkers were like, "Nope, you were never doing that again because we might need to, write your code, and we'd rather just be in Bash." And I was like, "Okay, fine. Everything's a shell script, or in Python or something like that." And it's like, okay, fine. So I was teaching coding. I know JavaScript. I know all the web languages. I know Python. And then I realized, I know what? I know mostly scripting languages. And it's been forever since I've like used any compiled languages. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn C again. So I went out and got a nice C book, modern C stuff. I started like coding in that. And then one of my coworkers is like, "Why are you learning C? Like, why don't you learn like a new language that's like for this?" And Rust was at that time just around 1.0, maybe slightly before then. And then I started learning that a little bit, and then Brooks Build started, and so I started doing that. I started learning that on Brooks Builds, so the stream. So that's why I chose Rust, is that I could have a compiled language in my tool belt. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I do enjoy it. I think Rust is a fun language. I'm also a big believer in separating out the technologies that we use for personal projects and work projects. So, I have a day job, I have like work that I have to do, and all that work is in web technologies. So it's JavaScript, HTML, C++, that kind of stuff. And because of that, if I come back after hours and I work on like business type apps with Rust, it doesn't feel quite as much as like, oh, I'm literally leaving work and then going and doing the exact same thing at home. It feels different. And if it was the opposite, I would probably do the opposite too. Like if I was doing Rust at work, I would probably do side projects in something else, just because you want to be able to not just do the same thing forever all the time. It's not healthy. That'd be like going to the gym to work out, but only ever using one like exercise. Like, okay, I'm only going to work on my right arm forever. And then the next thing you know, you're like, my right arm looks great. Don't look at any other part of me. Okay, so for the credit book, the ID should be set. So assert that the credit book ID is something. I also want to assert that all of these things are set into what we expect them to be. Which unfortunately, I don't think I can do partial equal, can I? For a lot of these things. So we'll do so create a book. Name is going to be new book. Okay. Price. Nope. Nope. Okay, nope. Search. Okay, price. Change. Okay, so price in stock would be next. And then after in stock, okay, author. So I want this to be you're going to be just an assert. So the created book, authors, no, is some and authors dot length authors is empty. It keeps on doing this, keeps on deleting one of my parentheses, which I'm not super thrilled about. Okay, authors is empty. Okay, so if I run this test, oh, interesting. This is probably the same thing, isn't it? we got a 500 here. Why did they get a 500? So line 154, so that'd be this one. So I should get a 200 back. I got a 201. Here it is. Okay, so post to books. Error converting created book into book response, missing field authors. So that's the same problem that we have here. Joey, welcome back. How was your lunch? We created the rest of the author tests, and we're pretty much just beginning with the book tests. Okay, so for this authors, all right, we would need to do the exact same thing that we did for books and authors. So we want you to be authors, unwrap, or default. Like that. There you go. Caesar salad in summer hits the right spot. When it's really hot, any salad hits the right spot. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Second derivative. Hello, welcome. How are you doing today? Why is in stock a property? Does your database only keep track of it if it's there? I actually just put in stock as a boolean in the database. So like I know I probably could do something like, count of them in there in the database, but I just have them as a boolean for it. Yeah, the database pretty much only keeps track of it if it's there. I it's an overly simplified thing, and it's not really trying to be a real bookstore. I just wanted multiple types that were not always strings and numbers, so I threw a boolean. I know it's one of the fun things where like I'm trying to do this for educational purposes. So I'm trying to like sometimes I just have to force something to be when it's not the best practice in real life. But like, okay, I wanted some like to test. It's a thing. It's a thing. All right. You're happy here, which means now you should work. Yeah, and all the tests are working now. Okay, so that should create a book. Excellent. All right, so that's the C. Let's do the read one. Okay, so I don't need to create a new book. I can get one of the books that we already had that was there. So we can get one of the books that's there in the seeds. What's the order that I did? Did I do these in like? Oh, I did get all. So let's do them in the same order. Be should get all books. All right, so it's going to be a get. So I just need to set the URL. Okay, so we're going to go to all books like this. I don't need to get a client. We can go straight to response. Which actually means I can just have this go to straight to all the books. I'm going to have request get to the URL. We'll wait you. Then I want the JSON. The JSON is going to be a vec of test book. Okay, so that should give me all the test books. Let's make sure that that's still running. It is. Then, okay, so once I have these, I want to loop through all of these. Okay, so I want to make sure that I find there's only three test books. Okay. So let seeded books found. I'm gonna start with 0 for book and books. All right, so I want to test to see. I want to get the name of the book. So I guess we'll match book.name as a stir. All right, so we have a couple different names. We have free book. So if we find you, we want to increment you. Okay, so we increment you. I then I don't know if I care about the other ones. Oh, I want to care at least for one of them. I want to check their authors and get their authors for this. And so we can actually see in here, free book has the author one book. Okay. We can look in that for everybody. So you have that. I guess we can do a bunch of asserts inside of here. So we have the ID and then the name is matched here. That's fine. The price, we should be able to set what that price is. Okay, so assert. You should be a sum of, what are you? You are 0. And then in stock. You should be a sum and true. Okay, so that's name, price, in stock, and then authors. So the authors oh, you know what I should be doing here instead? We should assert like this. Is sum and we have the price, and the price is equal to 0. That's a little bit cleaner, a little bit better. Is sum and we have in stock is true. And then I want to do book authors. So I probably want another assert for this one. Okay, book that authors is sum and we have authors. For the authors, I want to check to see how many it has. There's only one author for this book, so authors dot length is equal to 1, and authors, so the first author dot name is equal to 1 book. Okay, and then you're upset because non-exhaustive patterns. That's fine. Okay, so that's free book. We also have the name of the other book is expensive book. And I should actually just clone this. Okay, so expensive book. Okay, so expensive book. We increment seeded book found. The price is going to be 10,000, whatever that is. It is in stock, and its author's name is multiple books. Okay, and then we have unavailable book. Increment you. Your value is 1,400. Your in stock is false. And you're also written by multiple books. Okay, and then this one here, yeah. So everything else, we don't care. You don't do anything. All right, so that's the end of the match. That's the end of the for loop. I want to now assert equal that you found, see the seeded books found is equal to 3 books. All right, and it found all 3 books in the database. Okay, so there's that. Then the next one would be get one book. Let's go to the book. So that's author ID. Book ID would be 1. So let's go to author 1. Let's go to, okay, so the book that we got. So request, get to the URL. We'll wait. We'll JSON. This should get me a test book. We'll wait and question mark U. Okay, so we've got a test book out of here now. I want to double check that the information is the same. So we're going to now assert equal that book dot yeah, let's assert that book.ie is some, no, just do assert book.id is some and ID is equal to 1. So it's the same ID. Okay, book. What else is there? There is price. Okay, so book.price is some and the price is equal to, this is the first book, so you're free, so that should be nothing. Okay, so then next is in stock. In stock should be true. Okay. Oh, which I could just do in stock like that. What? How did you wreck that so badly? Okay. All right. Let's see. So then we did in stock and then finally authors. So I want to assert book.authors is some and. Okay, so authors dot length is equal to 1 and authors of 0. So the first one dot name equal to 1 book. Okay, there we go. So that should get 1 book and working. Okay, excellent. We are testing that we can get 1 book. All right. Next up, Tokyo test. We should. Okay, so we've got multiple books. So we have cur. We need kra. So the update. So we should update a book. Oh, I have a meeting in 15 minutes. Let's update. Let's do this first and get it to a failing test. And then that will let me know what we're doing on Monday. Okay, so, because I'll forget otherwise. All right, so should update a book, and then I'll just do a to-do. And then that should cause an error here when I run the tests. So excellent. So I believe that we'll be finishing up this entire assessment on Monday, and we'll be able to move on to the next one, which we're running out of them. So we're getting to the end of the assessments, and then after that, it's going to be article writing time. And at a certain point, when I'm far enough in on the articles, it's time to start like opening things up and actually getting things going. So exciting times. So anyways, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will be back on Monday morning. I do streams on starting at 6 a.m. Mountain Time on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. I stream until around this time, and on Wednesdays is a shorter stream. And we've been working on a lot of Rust stuff. So with that, have a great rest of your Friday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.